All right, welcome everyone. Happy New
Hi,
Year.
everyone.
Everybody's filing in here.
Wow, we have a
Welcome
big crowd.
to, yeah, it is. This is great, a great turnout. Welcome to Harp Column's 2026 30-day practice challenge. We are so excited that you are here. We're excited for our guests who are here today, who we're going to introduce in just a moment. Um, but first, we just wanted to uh, say a few words about this year's practice challenge and what you can expect. Um, so, if you're here, then you are likely already signed up for the practice challenge, and you should have gotten an email already today with our first tool of the day, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But as part of the challenge, we are challenging each of you to practice for 20 minutes every day for 30 days in January. And along the way, we're going to be giving you daily tips and motivation to keep you going throughout the month. We have a few live sessions, obviously starting today with our kickoff session with Grace Browning and Joe Rebman and Shamim Minoo. And we're going to talk to them in a few minutes to get some of their practice tips. If you have a friend who might enjoy this, it is not too late to join. We'll put the practice challenge sign up link in the chat. Invite a practice buddy to join with you and do that challenge with you, because that's always more fun to have a friend. Um, we are also excited that our latest issue of Harp Column magazine is out today, January 1st. We'll put a link in the chat for the magazine. If you are not a subscriber, we encourage you to sign up for that. It is a, a great issue, I think. I'm really excited about it. We have Cheryl Losey Fader on the cover of this issue, and a lot of great content. So check that out. And also, Harp Column Academy, if you are not a member of Harp Column Academy, we encourage you to check that out and become a member. We're going to be sharing a lot of great content from our library of videos. Our guest Grace Browning here today is one of our master teachers on Harp Column Academy. So that's got really, really great content and helpful information there to keep you motivated this month. So, um, without further ado, Kim, I think we should get started here. Do you want to
Sounds good.
introduce our first guest?
Yeah, well, we have three very special guests with us today, and we are going to start by talking to Grace Browning. And Grace is the principal harp of Rochester Philharmonic and also the Santa Fe Symphony. She is also, is that right, Grace?
Oh,
Or
opera.
Santa Fe Opera. Okay,
Right next
right.
door. Exactly. Thank
Got
you.
it. And she is also a blogger. If you visit her website, you can get some words of wisdom from Grace. And she's also a mom and a mom to be. So yeah, if you want to find out more about juggling harp and family, Grace is the one to talk to. She's has been featured in Harp Column Academy's Inside the Practice Room studio, and she's written for Harp Column magazine several times. So we're really happy to have her here. And our first tool to kick off the practice challenge is to create an ergonomic practice environment. So we thought we would ask our guests today if they can share some tips about how they have created the best ergonomic practice space for them. So Grace, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me start by saying thank you so much, Harp Column, for having us, for putting this magic together every year. It is really powerful, and I'm so glad to be here and to be a part of it. And congrats to all of you for showing up and being here today. That's also a big deal. So we're already off to a great start. And I just love this first prompt. It's so smart to be thinking about the environment that we are in, right? I tend to be a bit of a clutter bug. I'm purposely only showing you a very small portion of my office, so you're not looking at the clutter on my desk. So that's definitely on my to-do list. But I wanted to talk about, in terms of environment, one thing that I sometimes forget is the importance of tune, actually. So when we tune, right? And I know this is kind of obvious, right? We know we should tune, but it's just, I had an experience once where I remembered, working on something, practicing, feeling like it was just not really, like, we have off days, we have off moments, etc. But I took a break, I tuned, I came back, and I swear it was like everything was just easier. There's something about, I mean, it's not that we can't get work done at the harp if we're, we can do we can do a lot of stuff, but we really want our ears to be engaged. And in order to have our ears properly like syncing with what we're doing, it's really good to just take a minute. And it's sort of like a way to take inventory of yourself as well, right? And the instrument. I only got so far and then realized I actually had broken like a couple strings over break. So that's another thing, right? Like, sort of like maintenance. Do you have what you need to be creative, right? And then in terms of just the other things, right, that I want to make sure, in addition to having my tuning key and tuning stuff, I want to have water. I mean, maybe it's because I'm pregnant, but I'm drinking water all the time. Whatever it is, tea, something to just keep you motivated. And, again, maybe a little journal or something like that, just so you can be your own, bestie through this. So I got mine here, and I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you guys too, and continuing to stay in touch with you throughout the challenge.
Thanks so much, Grace. That is so inspiring to hear, how you manage your practice. Is there anything else, any other tips you want to give people about
Yes,
how they can get the most out of the challenge this year?
absolutely. Okay, so this is huge. So I'll just share personally. I'm in a really interesting part of my harp journey. I've been in the biz for that sounds silly, but I've been doing this for 20 years now. And sometimes you get to a point where you kind of need like maybe a bit of a reset. It's not that I still like love what I'm doing, right? But sometimes it can get a little funky when we sit down behind the harp and we sort of have, again, just maybe some old stories that are not really helping us, or some associations that aren't serving us anymore. One of the things that I'm kind of shedding right now, which is often something I think we all experience in the new year, is like the pressure to like work harder and like there, and with almost a sense of not brutality, but just like a sense of harshness that for me personally, is not always the most effective. So I'm leaning into working softer, right? So it means you are showing up. Yes, that is like the most important thing. Is just show up. Like you've probably experienced this. The minute you sit down, you're like, oh, this isn't so bad. You're like, oh, I forget, and then you get into it, right? So like just getting there in the chair, that's already huge. And just really being mindful of how you're talking to yourself, right? When we're at the instrument, it's really a reflection of our relationship with ourselves. How do we talk to ourselves? How can we get curious and kind while, instead of being critical or don't do this. Let's find a way. Let's find a way to listen differently to this left hand. Let's slow down, right? So just inviting the creative process to whatever it's going to be, but at the very least, let it be gentle. Yeah. Because we have a lot in our lives. Like we have a lot of pressures. We're doing so much. And this isn't easy either. So let's just, prioritize kindness to self. And at least for me, I'm hoping that this will ignite more of sort of my own purpose, my own reason, my own relationship with the harp, because that's why we're doing this. So
Love it. Thanks, Grace. That's so good to hear. And your point about like half the battle is showing up on your bench, and then a lot comes after that. I think that was a big initial impetus with Kim and I for starting the practice challenge. Was sometimes you just need that little push to sit down behind the harp every day, and and like you said, be kind to yourself. Like, this is hard. Doing a challenge like this is hard. Playing the harp is hard. Um, and I love that positive message. So
Yes.
thanks for that.
Give yourself grace. You have my permission.
Love it.
Nice, Grace.
Thanks, guys. Looking forward to hearing from all of you. And again, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah. So along the way here, if anybody has questions for Grace or Joe or Shamim or any of us, please type those in the chat, and we'll make sure to get to them here before we're finished. But let's move on here, and let's meet Joe Rebman. Joe, if you are a subscriber to Harp Column and you are on top of things, maybe you've already read Joe's sounding board article in our current January-February issue of the magazine. Joe is a harpist, an educator, and a composer. He's based in Cincinnati, Ohio, and he wrote about his experience teaching at the Mostly Modern Summer Festival for the magazine. So Joe, welcome. Thanks so much for being here. And we're going to ask you the same question we started with Grace, which is, our first tool of the day is creating the perfect practice environment. So how have you found ways to create the perfect practice environment for you?
Thank you, Allison. Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be here. So with practice environment, I definitely am the kind of person who likes to find excuses of, I should practice. Oh, but I should also do that before I practice, and that before I practice. So trying to find a way to clear out all of the excuses of being everything is right here. There's no looking for things. I have, my stand has a little shelf under it with my pencil, a nice big eraser, some post-it notes. I have a lovely small little table right next to me within arm's reach that has tuner, metronome, my journal. Since Grace was showing off, I also have one for my Harp Society event many years ago. And then even directly behind me, I have a cabinet with about half of my sheet music collection. So everything is just right here within arm's reach. There's no excuses. I can just sit down and just everything I need is right here.
I love that. The no excuses approach to creating the perfect practice environment. That it's kind of like when you have a kid who doesn't want to go to bed and they keep getting up finding excuses for why they can't go to bed yet. It's kind of the same with sitting down to practice. You keep getting, oh, I need a glass of water. I don't have my metronome. This and that and this and that. But I love the no excuse practice environment. That's great. Joe, what other advice could you give to our guests today as they're starting out on this 30-day practice journey?
I have two tips, one very heart specific and one a little more broad that I found very helpful throughout my career. First, getting very harp specific. I found both for me and for my students, the act of learning to memorize kind of happens on its own. We kind of are naturally drawn to look at the harp, not the paper. I do a lot of freelancing in my career, so I've had to learn things real quick, fly through music. And I've kind of naturally found I'm a very good sight reader, which is kind of a uncommon thing in harp world. And it is the exact opposite concept. Look at the paper, not the harp. So a way that I try to teach my students about learning how to sight read, taking really basic things, also a good time to learn new gig music, take really easy stuff. The more you can find, the better. But also even just a really simple scale or arpeggio warm-up. And do your absolute best to not look at the harp. Stare at the paper, brand new, never seen before. Stare at the paper, have your hands just go. The more you can get that sense going, that really is sight reading. Not looking at the harp, just know that your hands will find where they need to be. And of course, like 9% of the time, very quick glance for a jump or something, but just look at the paper, ignore the harp in your hands for sight reading. My second one, a bit more broad, definitely connecting into what Grace was talking about, kind of in our world of just getting yourself sat down is a big part of the battle. Something I've frequently made a mantra for myself, which applies to not just harp, but a lot of things. Something is better than nothing. There are so many days where I've gone, I need to get an hour of practicing in. And then something happens in the day and I only have 45 minutes instead. I'm like, what's even the point? Why should I even sit down? I can't get my hour in. Nope, don't think that. Something's better than nothing. Even if it's just 15 minutes. If I can just sit down, play some loud, fast arpeggios just to keep my calluses, that's so much better than doing nothing. So, no matter what you manage to be able to fit in, whether it's a perfect practice session or not, something is better than nothing.
That is so true, Joe. And that is one of the reasons why with the practice challenge, we are challenging you 20 minutes a day, because that's really doable for most of us, I think, to find 20 minutes in the day. And it's, and once you sit down and you start that 20 minutes, who knows, you might be there for another hour, but just taking that 20 minutes for yourself is what we want you to do. So thank you so much for sharing those tips. I think we'll move on now and meet our final guest, Shamim Minoo. And this is my first time meeting Shamim, but of course I know all about her because she has recently become the gold medalist at the USA International Harp Competition in last July. So she is a perfect person to tell us how to get organized and practice efficiently, because I'm sure, Shamim, that you must have done so much of that preparing for the competition. And just to give a little bit of background, you are from Iran, but you're now living in Paris and still a student. Is that correct? Still studying for your degree?
Sorry, there is a connection problem. Can you repeat your question?
Sure. You are from Iran, but you're living in
Yes,
Paris, and you are
exactly.
you are still studying in Paris at the
Yes,
conservatory. Is that right? Okay.
yes. On the last year of my master degree.
Okay, great. So we're going to paste a link here to Shamim's feature interview in our July-August issue of Harp Column, and you can read a lot more about her there. But I'll turn it over to you, Shamim. Can you tell us how you find an ergonomic practice space and how you go about that?
Yeah, I think for me, the most important thing is that to do like a little bit of planning the night before that I'm going to practice the day after, I think for me, it's the most important part, because sometimes you just get up and like probably the whole day you have students or you have something to do, and then you don't do the planning and it's too late. So I think for me, the most important thing is that the night before I know what I'm going to do the day after, like even just to write like which piece I have to practice and how many hours I have to practice, and then what I'm going to do with this time with the pieces. Like I go too much in details, but I think it's the most important thing for me to know what pieces I'm practicing, how long I'm going to practice it, and you have to have breaks between it. But I'm talking about like, it's not just 20 minutes of practice, of course. I'm talking about like 4 hours of practice per day or something like this for like big competitions. And yeah, and then what I'm going to do exactly in this time with the piece. Like I'm going to just practice my left hand. I'm just going to, I don't know, whatever. But like I know I what I'm going to do, and it depends on what stage I am on the piece that I'm practicing, of course. Because if it's like it's new and I'm going to start it, it's not the same stage. And then like if it's been a year that I'm practicing and then I'm going to re-practice it for a concert, it's not the same practice. So yeah, I think it's important, because when you know what are you going to do the day after, it motivates you to go and start the practice. You know what you're going to do, what time you're going to start, so you go. And the other thing, I think for me it's very important to tune. Grace has I really agree with you. It's very important. Like my I start my day with tuning, and then I start my breathing exercise. I think the most, like for me, the one of the most important thing when I want to practice well or play well is that I have to feel well. So I think it's important if you can just like do 5 minutes of breathing exercise before starting, to just feel calm and peaceful. So yeah, that's the tips that I can give you.
This is such great advice. And Shamim, you're actually touching on some themes that are going to pop up later in the challenge. So some of the things you're saying, I think people might find some days dedicated to those themes. So that's such
Yeah.
great advice. Can you tell us a little bit about, can you describe your practice environment and how you set up your things?
Yeah.
Do you have any?
I always have my tuning key, and it's funny, but I always have a how we say nail to cut my nails. I don't know. It's like the most important thing for me to have in my to like cut the strings when it works and cut my nails. Like every day I check. It's like a must thing for me. Water, of course, and I think that's it. I just have my planning, of course, always my planning booklet, like a notebook that what I'm going to do what time, and my sheet music, of course. And yeah, that's it.
Shamim, somebody is asking in the chat if you have any specific breathing exercises you can recommend.
Yeah, actually, I think it's not like I had an application, but I think if you don't have an application, it can work as well. You can just do, it's like 5 seconds or 10 seconds. It depends on what you want to do. 10 seconds, probably it's too long sometimes. I go with 5 seconds normally. I do inhale, I think it's this in English, I'm not sure. And then I keep it for 5 seconds and then I let it go. And I think if you want to be like more, if I have to be more precisely, I think you should have to be careful about your fits, that they have to be very in, you have to feel the, how we say, sorry, how to say, ground. Yeah, like you have to, you don't have to feel like up. You always have to feel down. I don't know if you can understand what I'm saying. And then I think it can help you to be more expressive when you practice, to put your hands on your heart when you are breathing and you're doing all this 5 seconds, and it helps you to be, I don't know, it helps to open your heart when you're practicing and you're expressing, I feel. So I do this like 5 seconds, 5 seconds, and 5 seconds. Inhale and keep it, and then exhale, I think. And then I repeat it for 5 minutes. And of course, I check to be like very down and not so stressed and not to be so up. And sometimes I put my hand on my heart.
This is
That's
so
great.
beautiful. I just want to chime in another, because I do the same thing, and another word that another way we call it is boxed breathing. Right?
Yeah.
You hold in for a while, breathe in, right?
Exactly.
Exhale, and then
Yeah.
It is so good, and like you're saying, feeling your feet, it's so grounding, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I wanted to say that it's English is complicated. Sorry.
You're perfect.
But I hope you understood.
Bravo.
And actually, for USA competition, it was one of the most useful tips that I got from my teacher. Like she told me, and I'm so grateful for. Like it was 3 weeks before competition, and it's normal when it's before you're stressed, and like it's something very normal. But when you're stressed, like you're just like up, and you sometimes you cannot express yourself because you're just blocked. And this breathing exercise helps you a lot. Like I was feeling so relaxed on stage when I went, and I think it's very important to do it regularly. Like it doesn't change just with one day, of course. Yeah.
Great advice. Thanks, Shamim. And like Kim said, I think we're going to have a couple days dedicated to breathing. We have some both breathing while you play, practicing breathing before you play. I mean, it's all connected, and
Yes.
And it's great to hear everybody talking about that, because it can be so helpful if it's integrated into your daily practice routine. This is great.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that all the questions in our chat have been answered. Kim, am I missing anything?
Somebody asked about an app recommendation. Okay, Grace is weighing in. Great. Okay.
Okay.
So I think we
Great.
have that covered.
Great. This has been a super helpful kickoff session.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm really excited. If you have not done your 20 minutes today, I would encourage you to end this call and go practice for 20 minutes. Or maybe you've done your 20 minutes and now you want to go work on some breathing exercises and get some more practice in today. But I'm feeling super, we got a couple more breathing app recommendations in there. Those are really helpful. Thank you, everybody, for chiming in. Okay, we're going to wrap this up so everybody can go practice. I hope that everybody will join us again on Monday, January 5th is our next live session. We'll have 2 more guests, which will be great. Get some more insights into practicing. Big thanks to Grace Browning and Joe Rebman and Shamim Minoo for joining us today and sharing all your wisdom. And it's been so helpful and motivating to hear all of you today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much again for putting this together. We're so grateful and can't wait to keep in touch with you guys.
Yeah,
Same here.
absolutely.
We'll check in with you. And thanks to everybody for showing up today, and have a great challenge. Woohoo!
Woo-hoo!
Bye, everybody. Thank you.